Hello, Clyde Sharadi here. The investment landscape in Africa has changed dramatically over the last 10, 15 years. Africa is no longer just a continent of hopelessness, full of tragic stories such as civil wars and droughts and all types of tragic stories that you would see quite often in many media publications in the West. There's a new story that is coming out of Africa, a story of hope, this time a story of growth and the expansion of the middle class, an incredible amount of wealth being created in Africa. Some analysts are already calling Africa as the new China. What that means is that there's now an incredible amount of opportunity that we would like to be able to tell the rest of the world that the story from Africa is different. It is a story of creation of wealth. Many investors, many people in the West think of Africa only in negative prism. The only positive stories that sometimes you could get people to think of when they think of Africa is the fauna and flora in the Serengeti or something similar. That probably will make you laugh, but the story here is very serious in a sense that it is our responsibility, us as members of the diaspora in Australia and the rest of the world, to tell the world about this incredible growth story and the opportunity that it presents to many investors to go and create wealth in Africa. The next aspect of that story is that for African professionals in Australia, there is also an incredible amount of opportunity that is attached to this story, because it means that we can facilitate wealth creation and investment opportunities from Australia to Africa, as well as from Africa to Australia. Because as much as there is increased interest from both the government in Australia as well as the private sector to go and invest in Africa, there's also increased interest from Africa, whether from government and the private sector as well, to come and seek business opportunities here in Australia, and trying to educate the investment community in Australia, the business community, about these opportunities, and also giving them a bridge, so to speak, to how they can go to Africa and make money, how they can go to Africa and make a successful investment. There is obviously a risk in investment everywhere, whether you're in Australia, America, or Africa. And in many countries in Africa, risk is no greater than what you would find anywhere else. And that is why people like Chinese, Indians, Lebanese, and Pakistani, they go to Africa, they make quite a lot of money becoming millionaires overnight, probably because they have a different risk philosophy and assessment than the investors, I would say, here in Australia. What we'd like to do is to invite you, if you are interested in being part of this economic story, to contact us, because we're going to be putting a network of professionals and those who are interested in the business sector, because as much as we are very passionate about making a difference here in our communities, that shouldn't be limited just to the community advocacy and that sort of thing. We can also contribute to the welfare and prosperity of Africans, both in Australia and in Africa, through business. But that requires some education. It also requires good networking.